Okay, well, I have this little lid from a jar candle and this little thing to kind of use as a guide for how big of a tree stump I want to make using Sculpy polymer clay, which is always fun to work with. It's going to take a little while. But I'm determined. So, time to unwrap this thing, and look at that. Gonna have to really roll this thing around to try to work it out enough. Try to make it look kind of like a tree stump. And I should be able to fit it on here just right. I want it to be about the same size as this. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started, and I guess it's cylinder enough, and it's time to just poke a big old hole right in the middle of it. As you can see by how hard it is for me to poke my finger in there, this stuff is not fun to work with, but it is pretty versatile. So, I'm just trying to start by digging in here a little, see how much I can hollow this out to look like a hollowed out tree stump in a way. So it's hollowed out pretty well. Also, I don't really have many tools that I'm using. I literally just have some popsicle sticks for a little bit of shaping here and there. But here's what I got so far. I'm starting to taper off the bottoms there, kind of hollow it out a little bit more. You know, still very pliable, and slowly it's starting to take shape. So we'll see how this goes. It's coming along. Looks a little bit more flower-like than I would like, so I'm probably going to have to squish it around a little bit more, kind of make it not flare out as much on top, but work in progress. And there's a little jump forward there, so here I am with pretty much what I have decided on. I know I'll probably poke it around a little bit more, but with polymer clay, of course, one of the things that you have to do once you have everything kind of shaped is to stick it in the oven, and then when it comes out, it's going to be a little bit of a different color, but basically it's going to harden some because it kind of cooks off some of the oil in it, I guess. Now it's time to see what we can do about getting this thing glued to the top. Now, it might slip, so let's, you know, I'm going to use this Gorilla Glue, but I have a feeling that it might kind of slip off of this. I think we're going to have to do something to rough up that surface with this sandpaper. Make sure it can really hold, and it's scuffed up pretty good now. So now the fun part, the Gorilla Glue. Now this glue I have is very old, so it's barely even coming out. I use it on the bottles, on the pop stands, so it's a little bit of work to get this stuff out. But eventually I'm able to get enough on there that this thing should stick very, very well to this stand. Okay, let's put this guy in place, and it seems to be holding down. You know, it's going to take a while for all that glue to really set. This takes almost 4 hours. But I think we're ready to start with a few other things that I'm going to put on here, you know, because I want it to have more than just that stand. I want some sort of grass or moss kind of stuff. So this seems to be going all right. So time to, you know, put a little bit more, you know, finer details, because this glue will puff up a lot, so it'll look a little bit like vines, or if anything, it'll just give more for it to, for the moss to kind of hang on to once I'm trying to glue everything in place. So once I get all this in place, this will both help it to hold down more, but you know, it'll puff out some along the way, and it'll give us a nice base to kind of start putting some other stuff on. Yep, see, it's all nice and puffed up, just like I use on my bottles and everything. It takes almost 4 hours, like I said, to get to that point where it's solid enough where I kind of feel comfortable picking it up and working with it more. But now that I've got that big chunk of it done, it's time to, you know, move on to some other stuff for what I want to do with this here. So far, it's taken pretty much shape I want, and time to get that moss in place. I've never worked with this, had to speak with a witch underneath a bridge to get it even, but should be able to hold up just with some Elmer's glue even. So I'm even kind of stuffing it all down inside, and this stuff is a mess. It really just gets everywhere, but it's giving the exact look I want. So it all works out. It seems to be holding up pretty good just using regular old Elmer's glue, so that makes me happy. So everything's kind of dried overnight. It's pretty much the way that I want it. It's holding up pretty well. You know, there are some parts that are going to kind of be combed off of it And I know definitely I'm going to have to be trimming stuff. I even tried messing with more glue on a piece of it to see how it would come out, but it's way too matted. So I'll keep it fluffy like this. I trimmed around the sides and started mixing up some paint. Now I don't have a lot of colors left and I'm too lazy to go out. So this is brown enough, right? Well, brownish green, it'll work. I figure this is just going to be the base. I can add any other little highlights here and there. It is supposed to be an old tree that's, half dead anyways. So it's a little bit greenish starting out, a little bit grayish, but, I'll do little highlights here and there. Like I said, I don't even have much paint. I'm just kind of mixing as I go to see if I can kind of get the color that I want. But so far it seems to be working out all right. And there we go. It's, a little bit closer to the color that I want. Still just needs a few highlights here and there, but so far it is, looking a lot more like the tree stump and a lot less like the head of a flower. So put a little bit more detail in here, just little bits of extra green here, some lighter brown here and there, almost like trying to get some little stripes here and there within it. But it can be pretty therapeutic to just kind of tinker away and alter those colors until I get it exactly how I want it. Even just a little bit more detail in some of these cracks sometimes, pull a little bit more out of this than I originally had on it. I'll even go over some of the moss with that too, but here we go. So it's the stump itself is pretty much done. And I'm happy with it. The trimmed up moss is holding in place. I've put little bits of color onto the moss as well to kind of make it blend in a little bit more. So now Kodamas. Yep, I got a whole pack of these guys. And, I've made the pop stands before. These guys really do not stand. There's no way to get these guys to stand up. You're going to have to glue them on something. There are a few that sit like this one, but most of them just aren't going to hold up. So I'm going to have to find a way to get some glue in here that'll hold them. And it was tough because especially the guys up on top kept slipping around. But these ones did all right. I just kept having to kind of adjust them along the way as they're drying because that glue comes out very syrupy and it takes a little while for it to set enough for something to be held in place. But there we go. It's pretty much done. And just waiting for that glue to dry and then take some other videos and pictures to kind of show what that final product is. And there we have it. My little Kodama stump. Everybody's holding in place there, doing pretty well, so I'm happy with it. Seemed to work out relatively well, and a nice thing about these Kodamas I found out after I ordered them is that they glow in the dark. I'm shining a little UV light on, as you can see. They glow and everything. And there's my little craft. My little Kodama tree / Kodama stump. Little Japanese tree spirits. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.